Hey everybody, this is our second video of a two-part series on how to create this landscape. And we talked about some vocabulary while we were working on this last time. We talked about a tint, and we worked on a landscape by adding some tints to it. We said a tint is anytime you take a color and make it lighter, especially if we're using paints like we're using today. If you take that color and add white, that's going to make it a lighter color, and that is a tint in art. And we're using our tints to create this artwork, and we're using a principle called atmospheric perspective. Atmospheric perspective means that things that get further away in the picture often get lighter and lighter, almost like they're fading. And that's exactly what we're doing in our landscape, or we're making things fade as they go further away. Anytime you do that, it's called creating a gradient. A gradient is when things fade or transition or change. In this case, they're going from lighter to darker as you move through the colors in the artwork. What's cool about this artwork is if you do not have paints to join us at home, you can use watercolor paints if you have these at home. You can use crayons, colored pencils, or even regular pencils and create that same gradient of lighter to darker. Today, we're going to talk about the shades. The shades are the darker colors that we need to create this artwork. A shade is when you take any color and add black to it to get a darker version of that color. And that is exactly what we're doing today. We are going to be adding our shades to finish out this picture. Before we do that, we're going to start with our base color and color this second mountain in using our base color. In this case, I was using orange. And for today's video here, you're going to be using orange or your base color, whatever color you started with the last time, and some black. So the first thing I'm going to do is take our regular orange paint and paint this second mountain range straight up orange. This is our base color. This is our hue that we are using. You can use any primary or secondary color for this project, whatever color paint you like, or whatever you've got at home will work just fine. As long as you're keeping with the same color that you started with last one class. I like to take my brush and outline the edge of the mountain range first. Doesn't have to be perfect. Once it's outlined, it's a little easier to fill in with the brush. I'm trying to smooth over the paint, put it on nice and thick, but make sure that there's no big puddles or big globs or clumps of paint sticking. A little blobby over in this area. I'm trying to spread this out. Okay, that is our base color. That is our hue that we have painted in. Again, if you're joining along with us at home, the idea is to create a medium value, a middle color. So if you were using the crayon, color pencil, or pencil method, you would just press a little bit harder and a little bit darker with your regular crayon to get a nice, smooth, medium color. If you're using the watercolors, last time when we were doing tints, I had you paint the whole thing with just plain water first and then add your color second. I think for this next color, you're not going to color with plain water first. You would just go right in. This is my next mountain range here. Go right in with your brush, get your color wet in the tray, add lots of water so it's smooth, it goes nice and smooth, it flows quick. And you have to look and see how that color compares to the color you had before. If you need to get it darker, you need to go back and rub your brush along the color more and pick up the color. Blend it in to get it darker than it was before. As long as you're creating that gradient, as long as the color that you're adding or putting down is darker than the one before it, it'll all work out. My color is a little darker than the one before it. If I need to go darken it up, I can just rub my wet brush back on that paint again and pick up my color. That was our hue, that was our base color. So we actually don't need any water if you're working in the classroom with me or if you're using paint at home. We actually don't need any water today because all you're going to do to make your first shade is take the orange that you were using, pick up just a little bit of black, and mix that in to get a darker version of that orange color that you're using. It only takes a little bit of black paint to darken something up. If you add too much, and you can easily get carried away with this. So I just want it to be a little bit darker. So this is a little darker than my base color, and I'm going to go in. This is my third mountain. And add my first shade. So this is how you would add your first shade if you were working with paint. You added some black to it to make it darker. Let's take a look at if you were using other materials at home, what you would do to make your shade a darker color. Just set that brush down for a minute. So if I were using crayon or colored pencil at home, I would add a little bit of black or brown to this color. So once I colored my base pink, I would go over this with a little bit of black, and that's going to make it a little darker and give me my first shade. If you were using watercolors at home, you would go, actually the case of your watercolor container is a great palette that you can use to mix your colors up. So I would take either black or brown. I currently don't have black in this set of watercolors. I do just stuck with it. You add black or brown onto your palette. There's yellow. Black or brown into your palette. Lots of purple on there. Mix it in so that it's a nice dark color. And go ahead and you would paint that over top. And that's how you would make your first shade if you were using watercolor paint. That's much, much darker. Okay, let's get back to our painting here. So the final piece of this painting to finish it up is to add our last shade, our darkest dark, to the bottom. You don't want to add straight black if you're using paint at home, but you do want this to be very, very dark. So I'm going to take some more black and add it in to the shade that I was using earlier until it looks as dark as. So that's pretty dark. I might add just a little bit more black to darken it up even more. Mix it up really well so it's not streaky. And then I would go right in. Paint my last shade. Outline your mountains first. Take your time. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you go outside of the lines, no one will ever know that your mountain was a slightly different shape than you originally wanted it. Okay, and this is my finished product here for my painting. If I wanted to go back and fix this up a little bit, I can go ahead and fix my outlines, but that's pretty much it. I have my gradient, I have my base hue in the center, and then my darker colors underneath it, and my lighter colors above it. These are the shades down here. These are the tints up there. If I were using watercolor, I would just simply add more black on the bottom to make it really, really dark. If I were using crayons or colored pencils at home, I would also blend more black or brown or darker color on the bottom to finish this out. That is it. That is our tint and shade landscape.